Welcome back to MEF Infinite Edge. Oh, come on. Seriously? These producers. Unbelievable. All right, let's recap, shall we? Today we're talking about clouds and collaboration and delving into the network transformation required for delivering a unified customer experience. Executives from Orange Business Services and Microsoft joined us at the top of the show, providing the service and cloud provider angle, followed by market insights from today's featured analyst. But how is MEF facilitating collaboration to meet evolving enterprise needs through its work on standardized APIs and services? For that, we join MEF CTO Pascal Menezes for an overview of the groundbreaking work and MEF projects completed, underway, and a brief look at the road ahead.
Hello everyone, and welcome to today's episode on clouds and collaboration, delivering a unified customer experience. I gotta say, these episodes in the Infinite Edge series have been absolutely outstanding, incredible speakers, incredible content. And today I'm gonna cover the MEF perspective on exactly this cloud and collaboration and what's going on and how is MEF really working in this area. I wanna start with what is the impetus that's driving all of this change that we're seeing in networking and the digital landscapes and so on, and really it's digital transformation. It's estimated to be $11.5 trillion and continues to grow massively. And with that, network transformation is the underpinning that glues all of this. And MEF is really being involved as enabling our members to get on that journey of network transformation. And it's very, very critical because network transformation is not just about moving IT to the cloud, it's also about a whole new landscape of digital applications emerging that is attaching to the clouds, and the clouds are distributing to the edges. And with that, we see use cases like smart glasses, AR, VR. It's going to be very, very critical in this new digital world, the digital economy. Also, IoT and video surveillance and all the analytics that has to go into that video will be done processed from the edge. Also, robotics will be all over in smart manufacturing, and they will be driven by AI, ML at the edge. And finally, distributed applications will be everywhere. And these distributed applications will use containers, use microservices. The network itself will be a big compute platform, and networks have to perform. And with this, the idea of edge computing becomes very, very critical because really, edge computing and networks will become a synergy and very synergetic in how they will work together. And no more will networks just be plumbing and pipes, but networks will also have to guarantee and assure of delivery performance of applications in a distributed way. They'll also have to make sure that networks are secure. So networks will be very secure. And we've seen that with SASE and XDR emerging and so on. And finally, edge compute will be the norm in the network on the path of the journey of the packets from source to destination. They will hit a set of compute nodes, and that will be all part of the networks. And really, in this digital transformation, edge computing plays a very critical role. But edge computing, not just by the service providers delivering network functions virtualized in a distributed way at the edges, but also bringing with that clouds and the collaboration of hyperscalers and bringing that cloud hyperscaler IT new digital transformation processes into those edges. And we're seeing today a lot of announcements by many, many service providers with hyperscalers, how they're going in a better together story into the market and into the enterprises and enabling that digital transformational journey for the enterprise. So this is a very critical area and a critical time where hyperscalers and service providers are teaming together, bringing their services together in the enterprise as a managed offering. And you heard that both from Frank and you heard that from Sean, great keynotes about what is really happening in this area. So let me continue on this journey on what really will be very critical. Now, it's not just going better together with the hyperscaler and the service provider, it's also that the service provider is the managed service provider for not only the network and the security aspects and SD-WAN and SASE and the transports and the 5G and all of those infrastructure pieces, but also the enterprise is riddled with complexity in the cloud. The cloud itself has many regions, and now as the cloud distributes to the edges, they will have compute there, and they will have IaaS, and they will have platform as a service and SaaS applications, and all of that has to be managed. And this is why it's a critical time that the service providers are really now stepping up to not only enabling that customer experience for networking, but also networking in the cloud or managing the cloud resources. For example, the VPCs and VNets, and how they're distributed and how they'll have to interconnect to each other, and the load balancer and the gateways that are in those cloud kind of complexities all have to be put together for that cloud experience at the edge, and for that subscriber to have that experience that's a service provider that can manage all of those assets in that digital transformation journey of the enterprise. So this is really, really important area. Now, what we see is really the service providers are really becoming digital service providers. So what do I mean by a digital service provider? I've said this for a number of years that many service providers have to be part of this digital economy, this digital transformational journey. And we're seeing a lot of our members step up to doing that. And this is very, very critical. And really, a digital service provider, by definition, means that it's not only a programmable kind of network with SDN and virtualized with resources, but edge compute plays a very critical role. And with edge compute, as I talked about, there's a whole ecosystem of partners, as you see on this diagram to the right, that these partners are interconnected. And this digital service provider not only has transformed their networks to be programmable and virtualized, but also at the edges enable compute, and automation becomes a very critical aspect. And through that automation, the experience has to be that through a single portal, the subscriber gets to be able to get visibility and control of what they want to do with the network and all the cloud resources and all the partner ecosystems, and or also use an API or a set of APIs, automation APIs, if they are also automated inside the enterprise also. So this is all part of a digital service provider's journey. Now, MEF has been playing a very critical role in this automation landscape, and we've been working on this area of the east-west automation in this digital service providers ecosystem journey, as digital service providers have to partner with hyperscalers and all kinds of cloud providers, other wholesale ecosystem partners. We've been working on this east-west automation APIs because it enables this ecosystem to plug together in a seamless way and enable that customer experience to be frictionless. And MEF has been working on Sonata and Interlude, Sonata being the commercial aspects of buying and selling and all the commercial transactions involved with that. But also Interlude is the operational aspects, all the service OEM, fault management, performance management, the ability to provision the services, all that is really part of Interlude. So both Sonata and Interlude play very critical roles. And as you can see in our MEF-55 architecture, lifecycle service orchestration architecture, that is Sonata and Interlude are the east-west kind of reference points where all the APIs live in that automation journey, as I talked about. Now, let's just walk through, what is going on in this cloud and this service provider collaboration. As you know, for years, we've been seeing how every service provider is now enabled on-ramps to all the hyperscalers. And we're seeing that as being very, very important to any kind of service any service provider offers into the enterprise, is a direct connection to the cloud and not having to use the internet. And you can see today, you see AWS having direct connect and Azure having express route. And with that, you can see that the on-ramps are very, very fat, big pipes, 10 to 100 gigabits of capacities. And these enterprises have the on-ramps to all their clouds of their choices. And that's been a very kind of journey that's been around for years, and it's been a great journey. But what we're also seeing is that now, as service providers put their edges and enable those edges with compute and put services of SD-WAN and SASE and all these kind of cloud services at the edge that they're delivering on their own, they're also partnering with hyperscalers and cloud providers to also extend their footprint globally. So let's imagine a service provider, digital service provider, has a retail offering around the world. How can that digital service provider do that when they don't have a footprint around the world? They don't have edges around the world. Well, in this example, what I'm showing is really simple. They can attach to a hyperscaler footprint that is global in nature and has IaaS infrastructure, compute services around in regions and also in specific cities as they distribute their cloud to the edges. And these digital service providers can instantiate their SASE services or their SD-WAN services on those IaaS infrastructures and basically use that express route, that direct connect on-ramps between their backbones, the digital service provider backbones and all their assets, and now extend that into the hyperscaler backbone and all the assets up their IaaS infrastructures. Now, to do that, we're seeing the hyperscalers say, hey, Mr. Digital Service Provider, use my APIs for automation so that you can manage all those assets and do that. So that's been a great model of how the collaboration is continuing to evolve. But we also see another way that is actually being realized is the idea that these inter-providers, this ecosystem of cloud providers and all these very wholesale providers that provide service to the digital service provider for the retail operation really does this with Sonata. Now, Sonata and Interlude, as I talked about, is not only enabling the ability to connect this ecosystem from an automation point of view, from both commercial transactions and from operational automation. But think about now, if, for example, an enterprise wants to find edge compute across that retail digital service provider globally, how does that digital service provider provide that edge compute? But it can only do that with all its partners in that retail wholesale model we know from carrier Ethernet and so on. But now we extend that wholesale retail relationship into edge compute. And so now we see the idea that a retail digital service provider can go out and offer a global edge computing service and yet use our Sonata and Interlude APIs to find out for a given address around the world who's got edge compute for this kind of resources that's needed from the enterprise and get a quote and order it and provision it and then make sure it's running right with service OEM and performance and fault management and all the trouble ticketing and all that automation that has to be done. So this is kind of where MEF is really playing a critical role. It's not just the connectivity of that underlay, connecting all that automation with big pipes, but it's also enabling this idea that we'll have application performance of SD-WAN and SASE and security, but also edge compute anywhere in the world where enterprise wants to realize their digital transformational journey into those edges anywhere in the world. They can do that with that whole ecosystem of partners connected. So really, MEF has been working on the East-West APIs, not only in this wholesale retail relationship, but also enterprises, these multinationals, are also getting on the automation journey. And with that automation journey, they also want APIs that they can consume and that they can be able to use a set of APIs that they can look at, as I talked about edge computing or SD-WAN or bandwidth or whatever they might want to buy. They want to be able to buy it from an automation set of APIs and basically go ahead and use that. And we've been working on Cantata, which is the Sonata Interlude facing the enterprise, a buy-only model, and that is facing the enterprise. And we call that Sonata and Allegro. And so with that, you stay tuned as we deliver a lot more great innovation through our membership and through our MEF forum. So with that, I want to thank you for taking this time. And it's been a really great episode. And I really look forward to the future episodes on this Infinite Edge series. With that, take care and have a great day.